David Gregory, welcome. The end of week 2 for us on the air and a lot going on. So forget the who, what, where, when, and how. We've got 3 questions in the race for the White House that really matter. Still with us, MSNBC political analyst and host of the Rachel Maddow Show on Air America, Rachel Maddow herself. National Journal's Lyndall Douglas, columnist for Black America Web, Deborah Mathis, and the Washington Times, Tony Blankley. Okay, we know it surely hasn't been Clinton's best week ever, but let's put Obama's gains into some true perspective here. Since Wednesday, he's managed to gain 3 superdelegates to Clinton's 0, but that's a far stretch away from, say, 20, 25 superdelegates. Why didn't the floodgates open? Was this the best he could do? If not, why hasn't he flooded the zone with superdelegates? Is he being too cautious, or is it that there simply aren't that many superdelegates left in his bag of tricks? That leads me to question number 1. Did Obama miss an opportunity this week? Tony Blankley.
Well, I don't think he missed it because I assume he didn't have that card to play. I mean, there's been rumors about the 50 that are ready to announce, and obviously this would have been a week to do it. That was the theme of the Obama campaign. I mean, they had everybody they could find. Leahy coming out and say she should quit, which is sort of silly. I mean, it's like having Coca-Cola hold a press conference and say Pepsi should stop delivering, their soft drinks to 7-Eleven. So he played the hand. There just wasn't much in the hand.
Linda Douglas, is there anything else that he could have done at a time, as you pointed out earlier, that Hillary Clinton was sputtering?
Well, he's recovered from what was a pretty tough couple of weeks with the Reverend Wright scandal. With the controversy is really the better word. It's really not a scandal. But he certainly has recovered in polls and was able to roll out a couple of big superdelegates. I agree with Tony. I'm not sure that he really missed an opportunity. I would suspect that if he had 25 superdelegates sitting there waiting to come out and endorse him, this, to staunch the bleeding from the Reverend Wright thing, would have been a very good week to do that.
It is striking to me, Deborah, at the end of the week, today you see the Obama campaign putting out a memo really for the press's consumption, making the argument that all the Clintons know how to do is play hardball, be nasty in campaigning, and that's what they like to do, making an argument in some ways not only to the press but to those superdelegates. But he waited here at the end of this 2 weeks at a time when she had to go through Bosnia and other problems to really try to go in for the kill.
Yeah, well, he was in no position to, before now, because of the whole Wright controversy, to really go on that attack. It would look like a wag the dog scenario where he was trying to change the subject for his own aggrandizement. So I see why he waited until now to do this. And I must agree with Tony and Linda as well that I think that if he had the superdelegates to show off, he'd show them off. They're still working that behind the scenes.
All right, Rachel, you're up. Let's turn this around now. Flip this over. Clinton had some decent chances to take a shot at Obama this past week. Her sharpest jab was when she brought up the issue of Reverend Wright, yet that accomplished far from a total knockout. Obama deflected much of the negative attention, went on to perform considerably well in the polls, namely the NBC News Wall Street Journal poll. So the question number 2 is, did Clinton miss an opportunity to really turn the tide? Think about it. Most difficult fortnight for Barack Obama that he's had in the campaign. Rachel.
This was difficult. We know that the Reverend Wright controversy was not reflected in a big hit in the polls for Barack Obama. It's hard to know what other overt forgive the phrase, but overt slime you could really throw at Obama. There isn't that much that's known about him that they have held back on, as far as I can tell. I do think you're starting to see some interesting splits again between what you're hearing from Bill Clinton and what you're hearing from Hillary Clinton. What we talked about earlier with Clinton twice in 2 days, overtly praising John McCain, there's something happening there in the campaign in terms of their messaging. That doesn't happen twice in 2 days by accident when the person saying it is Bill Clinton. So they may have something else up their sleeve, but I'm not sure what it is yet.
I think Hillary did miss a bet in the last week, and they misjudged because they didn't get into the right thing until a couple of days ago because they assumed that the media was going to carry it, but the media got finished and got exhausted with it. I think in retrospect, they should have got into that earlier personally and punch away at it and try to keep that issue front and center longer than it was.
But I would disagree with Tony completely on that and say that I think the opportunity that she missed this week was to take the high road completely on that issue. Her problem now is likability. Her problem is popularity with African-American voters. If you look at John McCain said when Sean Hannity asked him about whether Obama should be criticized for what Reverend Wright said, McCain said, look, I know Obama. I know he doesn't believe those things. If Hillary Clinton had done something like that, I think she would have gotten points.
She's never going to win a personality contest. Her only hope is to bring Obama down by any way. And every day she misses a chance to bring him down is a day closer to her defeat.
It is. I think that's such an interesting point. Go ahead.
One way that I think that Hillary Clinton could have done herself a world of good this week would have been to have used one of those many opportunities where she has the press around her to come clean about Bosnia, and to have not used the slip of the tongue or I misspoke. It's not as if she got it mixed up with another day when she was under fire overseas.
Right. You know, Deborah,
I don't
think anybody believes that there's a big secret about Bosnia that she's trying to keep under the table. I don't think there's anything that she needs to come clean about in the sense that that she's got some secret that she's not telling about it. This is obviously something
that's
that
not what I mean,
she got
Rachel.
caught out for saying the wrong thing, and I think she deflected that as best she can, which is why the story kind of died.
I want to get question number 3 in here,
but telling a lie.
Yeah, she got caught out, and then she apologized.
That's quite different from saying.
But then what do? You come back and you say, "Let's talk again about my lie." There's nowhere else to go with that. She said, "I said the wrong thing. I misspoke. I was tired. It's over," and that's why the story died.
I want to raise one thing before I get to question number 3 that I think
it was over,
hold on
but
one
it's
second.
not over.
Let me just get in here. What I think is so interesting, and what, Tony, you brought this up, essentially Barack Obama is in a position where he is dictating the rhythm of play, and Hillary Clinton's best move, as appears to be, is to raise reasonable doubt. She's on the defense here. She has to raise doubt about him because he is in command if you look at the leaderboard. Let's go to question number 3. In many senses, John McCain has had it easy the past couple of weeks. He's gotten to sit back a bit, raise some dough, get his campaign in order while the Democrats fight it out. He's been all over the world talking about foreign policy, talking about the economy, and yet in the matchups, in the head-to-head, there is still pretty much a dead heat. Our latest NBC News Wall Street Journal poll shows Obama, in fact, edging him out by a couple of points. And on the flip side, Clinton trails McCain by just a couple of points, all within the margin of error. So, question is, shouldn't we have expected more from him as he goes at it alone? Number 3, where is the front-runner bounce for McCain, Tony?
Well, I mean, look, in the generic ballot, the Democrat beats the Republican by 15 points. The fact that he's even shows that he's doing about as well as a Republican can this season. But if there's something for him to do, I'll repeat my little simple-minded concept. He needs to talk about the economy with the same passion that the Democrats talk about the economy. And the sooner he starts doing that, the sooner he's going to start building up some points. He's not going to lose this because of his position, because people don't think he's tough on the war. He's going to lose it, if he does, probably because he's failed to address the economic concerns of the American people.
Well, and
part of the problem, Linda, is that he's in the middle of making a lot of important points, important speeches, but he's not being heard.
Well, and Tony's absolutely right about that generic ballot. Everything just on paper looks like it should go for the Democrats this year. People are identifying themselves as Democrats. Turnout for the Democratic candidates has been enormous, where there's been very, anemic turnout for the Republicans. In every possible way, it should be working for the Democrats. So Tony is right that McCain is doing okay. But I would make another point. I'm not convinced that the public actually knows John McCain that well. Yes, he's been around for a while, but he's been a senator. He's been seen on Sunday shows. He has some work to do before he's really got an identity. And he's kind of a surprise nominee. It wasn't totally clear that he was going to be the Republican nominee. So I would imagine that it's reflective a little bit of the fact that the public is still getting to know exactly who he is and what he stands for, other than the war.
Rachel, go ahead.
I would just say that I feel like I've learned a lot about John McCain in the past 6 months, and I felt like I knew him before this campaign started. The opportunity cost for the Democrats right now in terms of how long their nominating race is going to go on is whether or not they participate in the defining of John McCain for the American people. If John McCain gets to define himself, we've seen what his first ad looks like. It's a hawkish war veteran who's been in Washington for a long time and has a lot of experience. If the Democrats get to define him, he's going to be the senator from the Keating Five, and he's going to be the senator from Airbus, and he's going to be the senator who's been involved in all of those other lobbyist entanglements and doesn't know much about the economy. Those are two very different portrayals, and the Democrats want to make sure they're part of that initial definition of John McCain this season. So far, they're not really doing it.